to the standings in a minute. This is the thing I brought up last week, or talked about last week, about how the international game, the way they do the international stars and get their international players is very different from the way they do Americans. The latest All-Star game from Dodger Stadium this week, 35% of the players selected were born outside of the United States, including 12 from the Dominican Republic, 8 from Venezuela, and 1 each from Mexico, Aruba, and the Bahamas. Now, Tom, according to what I was reading, is that the baseball teams can basically make contact, sign these like Latin American players to like when they're 13 years old, and they put them in these camps, and then the camp guys, the trainers, are the ones that make all the money from the league, from everybody. And
they can do that without drafting them or anything.
Right. There is no international draft. So right now, that's what I was about to bring up. There is an issue that they're talking about between the players and doing an international draft in baseball to try to help fix that. And it may also help maybe alleviate Terry some of these, and Tom got some of these lower franchises not getting. So like when Shohei Ohtani and Ichiro, they picked where they wanted to play. They want to play on the West Coast because that's the Asian market will pick up those TV feeds way different than the East Coast. They all want to play on the West Coast. So there's a lot to get into with that. So baseball's got that. They've got the minor league things. Are they gonna cut? They've already cut leagues before. Will they end up cutting like single A at some point? A lot of people are asking. So I just kind of wanted to get back on that a little bit as far as where they're getting the players, and then Terry, then they're giving them. So there's a big difference between being controlled until you're like a certain age, these baseball guys, and then getting paid or turning down $500 million. And that I guess that's where you're getting at with there's so much money and half the league, or a lot of these guys ain't getting nothing, and all the money's going to like one guy like that. It's just weird. I don't know. American League: Yankees, Astros, Rays, Mariners, Blue Jays, and Twins. Guardians in 7th right now, Tom. Outside looking in.
Well, they're not consistent. They swept Detroit after Detroit swept them. If they get to play the White Sox every game, they might make the playoffs because they can always beat the White Sox for some reason. They've jumped ahead of Boston. Boston swept them, I believe. I don't know. They don't do well against good teams. You know what I mean? It's just like if you're want me to take you serious, you got to go in and play the Yankees and beat them at least once. Yep. And they don't. They when they play the Yankees, they're going to get swept. They play the Astros, they're going to get swept. So I don't know. I'd like to see them become, overusing the word today, relevant. I think they're relevant now. I know they've got a new minority owner and wants to spend some money, but we've talked about it. If you don't spend money, you're not going to be competitive.
The Espins have you in tier 4. You might see them in October.
If they do, they're going to get swept.
It says division odds 24%, playoff odds at 34% right now. Projected final record 83,
500
and 79.
Yeah, 500. It's about what they'll be.
I'll make that bigger on your screen. I've got it on the other computer, so you can kind of see that.
They always manage to get these young arms that are really good, like Bieber and McKenzie, and they get them. But they're a AAA team. What's going to happen when it's time to pay them?
It says, what's the Indians or Guardians' biggest need? It needs to find a number 5 starter, but let's go with Franmil Reyes after slugging 30 home runs with blah, 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 blah. I don't know these stats. Made-up stats in 2021. The big designated hitter has struggled in 2022, hitting .216 and just 8 home runs in 60 games. A DH with a .260 on-base percentage in the middle of your lineup is killing your run production. The Guardians are 13th in the American League.
Yeah.
In home runs, so you need
a bat.
Reyes' power bat.
You need a bat. So what's that going to cost you? $30 million a year. And you're not going to spend it. So you need a bat in the middle of the lineup. You're not going to spend $30 million a year. You're not going to make the playoffs. You're not going to beat the big boys. It's just what it is.
Well, you can come up and do it this year, but this will be his only year with you.
Right, you're
when
right.
It's trade,
yeah,
they can do that.
Rent a player. Rent a player.
To finish out the year to give you a big person.
They're close enough to where it'd be worth it. You know what I mean? To take a chance to go get you a bat and see what happens. But if you don't have a couple bats in the middle of your lineup, I mean,
That's why the
forget it.
Yankees are so deadly, man. I
Right.
mean, you can't touch
1
a
through
guy.
9, yeah.
It's every player that steps in there.
Yep.
Same thing with the Dodgers.
Is Judge a shoe-in for the American League MVP right now, or someone else? Are they going to give it?
Judge
Are they
should
going to
be.
give it to one of the Angels in 5th place?
As long as you don't give it to Ohtani. He
I
got
tell you
rocked
what,
last night.
if Ohtani goes to the Yankees, I think I will quit watching baseball forever. I'm not gonna. I'm just.
Zach, I saw a video. Did you know that Ken Griffey Jr. said he would retire before ever playing for the New York
Yeah,
Yankees?
he hated them. Something to do with. I think it's
They're
something to do with his dad.
When he was little, he was in the dugout one time, and his dad hated it. He didn't play for him and hated it. Well, they were at Yankee Stadium, and Griffey was in the dugout, and somebody from the Yankees told Griffey that he wasn't allowed to have his kid in the dugout. Well, Ken went to tell his son that or whatever, or however that was about to, and he looked out in the field, and one of the Yankees kids is after fielding grounders at third base. And they just walked over and told him they weren't allowed to have guests or kids on the baseball field. So Griffey told him that basically that he was raised to never do anything or like the Yankees about anything. And then that was I saw a video of it the other day, I don't know why, but they showed him he was signing baseballs, and I think at the All-Star game, and they're like, "Hey, will you come play for the Yankees?" He said, "No, never." And the guy was like, "Come on, play for the Yankees." He said, "Oh, you don't know me. I will retire from baseball. If I had the only choice of either retire or play for the Yankees, I would quit." And that's what he told the guy. So he'd never play for the Yankees. I didn't know that actually, but I get his drift there. So I was looking at the American League Tier 5, Terry. There's the Angels again. We talked about it 40 years. I need to pull up some video of Tom in about week 2. I remember him doing a lot of crowing about the Angels record. If I do, or Terry was in on that too a little bit.
Oh, I wasn't talking about the Angels
watched
because we always knew that they was going to fade.
I wish they played the Dodgers last week.
Had to have been Tom.
It must
It
have
was
been
Tom.
Tom.
Had
I
to
watched
have
him
been
play the
Tom.
Dodgers last week.
I
and they
don't
got
remember.
smoked.
I try to block you
I'm
guys
sure y'all
out
know
after the
too.
show. I try to
When they were
mentally
doing good,
cleanse
there was
myself.
no Terry. It was you because they got rid of Pujols. Now they're good.
Yeah, it was.
Well,
Terry.
yeah.
Then they fired their coach.
No, that's where they messed up.
They
They
lost
fired their
14
coach,
in a row.
and then
Yeah.
they down in the dumps now.
So
Good
Terry,
job.
I keep going down this list. I'm trying to find.
Right there we are.
Not last, not next to
There you
last.
go. 62,
Next to next
65.
last.
Playoff odds.
Are less than 0.1%.
We know. I knew that. We all knew that.
That's worse than a 0%. You're worse than a 0% chance.
Less.
But they did. What
0.1%.
player has been the brightest spot? Bobby Witt. You're right. He is.
Oh,
First year playing with us. We did do pretty good in the draft. So
Let's get up to the Cardinals and Braves. It's got to read a little bit better.
go all
than
the
that.
way on
We'll
back
get
up to the top.
I think Cardinals are 2 or 3 tier.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it was. Final projected record: 89 wins, division title odds 60%, playoffs 70%, championships 2% for them. What they need to be a threat in October, given the lack of quality in the NL Central and historical context of Millennium Pools, blah blah blah. There is no excuse for the Redbirds to do anything but go all in at the deadline, which is very true. Some seems kind of obvious, but that's not the way. The overly a lot of big words to say nothing. Time to flip the narrative. Whoever the Doolittle guy is can't write. I'll put it that way. Who can fix the back end of the rotation? Steven Matz was slowed to come off the injured list to start Cardinals' last game for the break. Fortunately, the game was rained out. He will now have to wait to make his first appearance since May 22nd. I don't even know who that is, so I assume he's not going to help us win a title. I guess they mean to make a move. Maybe somebody. I don't know if they need somebody electric. I don't know what they got. Arenado. They got Goldschmidt. I don't know. Maybe another bat. I would say pitching. Maybe a stud arm. Probably would probably be the best for them. Zach, I keep going up here to the Bravos. 50
Turned it on lately.
division title odds only 30% though. Playoff 95%. I got some of my eye, folks. Watch at home. Why they could take down the Yankees? Comment on you. Can you read that, Zach?
Yeah, they're the defending world champion, series champions, and they're better than they were last year. They've got a Ronald Acuna Jr. back. Dansby Swanson is playing MVP caliber baseball. Austin Riley is taking the leap. Matt Olson isn't Freeman, but he's pretty darn good facsimile.
He's pretty good.
Michael Harris II has been great. William Contreras started the All-Star game. Travis d'Arnaud made it, and this hasn't even addressed Kyle Wright, Spencer Strider, the former of who barely pitched in the last postseason,
Kevin, could you scroll that one up?
and the latter who
On the
did it
big
all,
screen?
capturing rotation spots and dominating. The Braves are really, really good, and they have. What is their record in the last 10? 7-3 in the last 10 games.
Braves are third in the National League now, Zach. Only a game and a half behind the Mets with plenty to play. Dodgers in first. They're 5 games ahead of the Mets. Padres fourth. Milwaukee fifth. Phillies sixth. And then the Cardinals sitting there tied with Phillies for that final wild card spot. So
When you
to do.
Zach, how do you feel when you look at that and they are defending world champions, and nobody says nothing about them? They're behind the Mets, but when you look at the record, they got the third best in the National League. And people say they cannot defend.
I like it because I don't want to. It seems like to me every time somebody says somebody's going to do something, they don't.
I mean, the only person that
They
lost
count
was
them out.
Freeman.
I would rather them count them out.
Am I correct?
Yeah, right.
Freeman.
And
Olsen come and has done just as good at first base as Freeman could ever done.
and then it said that in the percentages, and then the guy said they're better than they are last year, and they won the World Series last year. So I don't know.
The Braves are
They've been on a run.
second in baseball in home runs behind the Yankees. But they're in the bottom 10 in walks. It says they don't walk much for your team. Who can lead Atlanta to repeat?
So they're aggressive. What's wrong with that? When you come to the plate, you're swinging the bat.
Right. That's
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
You read that, and then you look at Mike Trout's walks and his team's record over the years, Terry.
Yeah,
I've been trying to say that for years. You can't. If he's your best player, you can't win with him taking pitches like that. You didn't want Barry Bonds
if I'm
to walk.
any coach,
You didn't want,
I'm
if he's on
coaching
your team.
for my team to be aggressive. We're going up there and stepping in the box to hit it.
Yep.
Not sit there and wait to walk.
All right. Went a little long on that. Let's finish up with the messed that screen up. The American Legion State